Alright, I am back with a change of plans video. I was going to do something about Xur and Destiny 2 today, but there's just a new breaking story from Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, who is reporting on a new thing that PlayStation is launching as supposedly a Game Pass competitor. I definitely recommend you check out the article, but it is very short, so I'm just going to kind of read parts of it here to kind of give some context as for what's going on, and we can get into it. So, according to Bloomberg sources, the service is codenamed Spartacus, and it will allow PlayStation owners to pay a monthly fee for access to a catalog of modern and classic games. So the people who don't want to be identified, the offering will be on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and it's so difficult to get, obviously. So the point is, this is merging PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now. Currently, PlayStation Plus is required for most online games, which offers monthly free titles, while PlayStation Now allows users to stream or download older games. The idea is to keep PlayStation Plus branding, probably, and then phase out PlayStation Now. So the idea, at least in this current form, is that it's going to be 3 tiers. The first is existing PlayStation Plus benefits, so kind of what it comes with now. The second would offer a large catalog of PS4 and eventually PS5 games. And then the third tier is extended demos, game streaming, and a library of classic PS1, 2, 3, and PSP games. PlayStation has not responded for comment. So the point of this is sort of to operate as an Xbox Game Pass competitor, and yet when you kind of think about what I just read for 2 seconds, it's a little hard to see it that way, at least going all the way down that road, and this feels just like more of a rebranding exercise than something that's being developed into a full-on Game Pass competitor. I know this is going to be like, oh, so, Paul's just being a Microsoft fanboy again, because that's my current gen reputation I know I've cultivated here. But, I mean, just, this is a facts thing. So, okay, the facts are, all this is kind of doing is rearranging PS Now and PS Plus into one thing, except the one thing still has 3 tiers. So it's just merging kind of, it's more of a branding thing kind of, and it's possible that if this all happens the way the report says, it will offer maybe more total content in the end. It does seem weird to me that it's so focused on, it's like listing backwards compatibility is like a tier 3 feature, essentially. Like, that seems a little off to me. And then the line about eventually PS5 games will be included in this. And it's like, okay, so obviously we are missing really the core component of why Game Pass is a thing at all. And Schreier followed up on Twitter to say that, no, this does not involve plans to launch Sony exclusive games day one on PlayStation Spartacus or PS Plus 2 or whatever this ends up being called. And without that, you're just not a Game Pass competitor. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That is the majority of the reason Xbox Game Pass is so attractive. Like, yes, it is a library of games, but it is mainly the idea. There's two main ideas that Sony is missing here from this current iteration of this, or the reported iteration, is launching original games on the service itself, like as they launch, not like a year or two later, but literally as they launch. That's what we've seen now with Forza and Halo Infinite. That's about to happen, and all of Microsoft's future games, they have committed to doing that for at least this generation, and Sony is not committing to doing that. And then the availability of these games on any platform you want. So another thing Sony is not doing is, well, Sony is dabbling more into bringing a lot of their games to PC, as we've seen in the last year or so. They're still not launching games like day one on PC like Xbox is. Like, all Xbox originals are launching day one on PC, and I think almost all of them are launching on xCloud too for cloud streaming. There was some note, I forget if he tweeted it or if it was in the article, but the idea that Sony is looking at investing more in cloud streaming and stuff too. So I've been hearing that for a couple of years with Sony. So, and obviously they don't have kind of the built-in infrastructure themselves, which is why they have to do deals with kind of external cloud people, including Microsoft, which they have struck a deal a while ago with them. So I don't really think this is that big of a deal. Like, I think this is better than what they have, certainly, if they can offer kind of a more robust library of games through PS Plus or whatever. That is a good thing. And yet all of this kind of is like just sort of what Xbox does with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, where they roll up Xbox Live and Game Pass into one thing. It just has less stuff because the main draw is day one on Game Pass and the wide availability of these games across multiple platforms. Sony is still just always going to be hanging on to this idea that not only should their AAA exclusives be sold separately and sold outside of a pass like this, but also they committed to this $70 price point for games this generation, which has kind of resulted in weird things like Returnal being $70 and Ratchet and Clank being $70, and like those games I think are like for some people like on the borderline of like, is that $70? Like, is that worth it? Whereas like I think Returnal to me seems like kind of the perfect game that would be like a day one on PlayStation Spartacus thing. Like that type of game seems like it would lend itself to this. So I am hoping that the idea would be like, okay, maybe sometimes we do launch, some big exclusives as a day one thing for this. Because like if they don't do that, if they never do that, and if they are always just separating these games out and making you pay $70 for them, like that might work for now. And I think you can certainly make the case that a lot of PlayStation originals are so good that you will get $70 worth of value out of them. But we are about to head into an entire generation where Xbox is going to be offering literally everything as day one Game Pass and on PC and on xCloud. So when that, already it's starting to be a bit like Forza and Halo are two really big games that are really well received. And those are going to, both be free with Game Pass. But, we're after the Bethesda acquisition, we're heading into a period where Starfield is going to be day one, Elder Scrolls is going to be day one, whatever the new Fallout game will be, the next Doom game, the next Wolfenstein game, like the next Dishonored game, whatever. Like all of these games are almost certainly going to follow that same format because they're now under Microsoft's umbrella. And that does not include all the other companies they bought, like Hellblade and Fable and Perfect Dark and like all these other games that we don't know if they will be the quote caliber of Sony exclusives or whatever that we've seen the past generation or two, but it does seem like Xbox is turning a corner in terms of its first party offerings. So if you have two consoles with identical power almost identical power that have two similarly priced Game Pass type offerings, and one is offering a string of really big, really popular games for free on that service, and one is still saying no, every time a game comes out you need to pay us $70 for it, that could kind of shift the balance of power a bit. And the thing is like we don't know necessarily if Game Pass is like ultimate long-term sustainable. Every time we kind of bring that up, Microsoft is quick to jump in and be like, no, like Game Pass is great, like we're not losing tons of money on Game Pass, like don't worry about us, we'll be fine. But like also, they're going to be fine because they're Microsoft and they have unlimited amounts of money. So, like, they could, Game Pass could be a loss leader for a decade and they'd still probably do it just to get that share of the market. Sony, obviously, is a big company in its own right, but it is not Microsoft. And they reap a significant amount of revenue from these tens of millions of copies of games that they sell, physically and digitally. And I do not think they want to gamble all of that, on a subscription service that somehow has to fund all of these games and turn the kind of profits that they've been seeing with the current slate of games. Right now, like, I don't think they need to change because Sony is doing so well in the console space. Like PS5 would be the fastest selling console in history if they could just make enough of them. And Sony has a string of Game of the Year contender and or winner games like spanning the last generation and a half at least that are still making new sequels, or the development studios are still with them making new stuff. Like they are not really in any danger of being like, oh no, like Microsoft is catching us. Like not really, like not in terms of actual dollars or sales or whatever. Like I think Microsoft is certainly having a better generation. It's just that like I think Sony would have to like feel like they are in active danger to make a move that drastic, and I don't think they are really anywhere close to that. That said, if you're talking about this as like Sony's building a Game Pass competitor, I still don't think that's what this is. The Spartacus thing just sounds like a way to make PS Now and PS Plus less convoluted, and it's not a Game Pass competitor if they're not offering day one exclusives on multiple platforms like Xbox, which is the main draw of Game Pass. So maybe this will help streamline things. Maybe this will encourage people to upgrade to a higher tier of whatever, but from the sound of it, unless there's something significantly different from this report, I don't think you can classify this as a true Game Pass competitor, and I don't really think there are any true Game Pass competitors out there. Like, that might not always be the case. Like, I know, every company is trying to invest in some sort of subscription thing. Like Ubisoft has their own subscription thing, and I think EA has one. I've lost track of these, or EA Play. But ultimately, if Microsoft wants to be the Netflix of gaming, like, Netflix sure has a lot of competitors these days. They have, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, Hulu. Like, these other companies can be those competitors in theory, but it's different because no one or very few people want to commit to the strategy of offering like all of their new games for just a subscription. It's like, if Amazon was competing with Netflix, but Amazon is still trying to sell you season 3 of The Boys for $28.99 when it's released or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the competitors aren't doing that because they know it would be stupid and it wouldn't work because like Netflix is just doing exactly what everyone wants them to do, and then consumers demand that from everyone else. So for a true Game Pass competitor from PlayStation, like, consumers would demand, like, no, I need God of War Ragnarok on day one, like, for free. Like, if you do that, yes, this is a Game Pass competitor. That is, like, no joke. That is an insta-buy for every PlayStation user. That is not where we're at. That does not appear to be where we're going, even if things get a little more generous with the back catalog and, some other features and, more free games every so often. But, like, we're not there yet. So, again, I don't think Sony needs a Game Pass competitor right now, and yet I think it's pretty clear the direction the industry is moving overall. And I wonder how long they can kind of ride the current wave of the idea of selling $70 games every couple of months as that is going to feel very dated very quickly, even if you can, make the argument it's quote unquote worth that much money. So we'll see when this is confirmed and what it actually looks like then, but I trust that most of the details of this are vaguely, right. It's just, this is in concept right now. Supposedly this is coming this spring, so we'll see if there's kind of anything else that comes out about it, or if Sony makes a statement about it itself. Maybe I've seen, leaks have driven announcements before to can be like, clarify this or clarify that, and they just will announce the thing. But I don't know. It could be something at the Game Awards. Who knows? Like, I could see Sony announcing Spartacus or whatever the hell they call it at the Game Awards. But I don't know. We'll see. So I think it's fine. I think it's probably good to streamline PS Now and PS Plus, because I think those are kind of confusing as two disparate entities. And Microsoft has already done that with Game Pass Ultimate. So I don't think that's particularly weird. It's just that to be a true competitor, you got to go a lot of extra miles past what we're seeing here, and I just don't know if Sony is going to commit to that anytime remotely soon. So anyway, thanks for watching. I will maybe just do that Xur video tomorrow. We can talk about his origin story and all that fun stuff that I was tweeting about yesterday. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.